Today's episode of Healing and Manifesting in the Hut goes out to all of those who have lost a pet in their lifetime. It also especially goes out to people who've lost a pet most recently. Our beloved Angus, our cat, passed just over 2 weeks ago, and he had a rapid sickness. Like, it caught us all by surprise. We worked hard. Taking him to the vet, figuring it out, giving medication, and just follow-up blood tests indicated he was quite unwell. And we were advised to consider euthanasia. Now, I've said goodbye to pets before. I have carried them in unwell and gone through the process of saying goodbye under a controlled environment, which I wrote about in the first book. Was it the first? It was the second, Stopping to Smell the Flowers series. Everything's Coming Up Roses. So I call it the blue book, even though there's a pink flower on it. And I wrote about how the vet at the time of these other cats passing said, this is the last nice thing you do for your pet. And at the time, maid wasn't available. So humans could not do this, could not decide, there's a lot of suffering coming. There's no way out of leaving, and so I'm going to control the leave. That wasn't available for humans at the time that this vet said to me years ago, this is the last nice thing you do for your pet that you love. So there we were a couple of weeks ago, realizing we needed to do that last nice thing for Angus out of nowhere. My other pets had been sick for quite a while at the time, so you just know that decision's coming. And I remember saying to Angus, this is true confessions, I remember walking by him in the hall one day and saying, or wherever it was, the kitchen, everywhere he was, I said to him, you can't leave us. That's not an option. Because this is when we were still sorting out, how can we help him? We had taken him to the vet 6 months previous and nothing came up on the blood work. Like, we were just following our intuition and thinking, we think something might be off, but it's also cat behavior, just in general, So I had said to Angus, not an option to leave us. You're only 13. My other cats lived to 18. So I was going for at least 20 for Angus. And, had said to him, you're not allowed to leave. So let's just sort this out. I mean, Angus was like a dog. I often described him like a dog or a horse. He had such a personality, and it was with us all. Like, we called him the supervisor too, because if we were wrapping presents for Christmas, he'd just lie on the dining room table and observe what was going on. If we were playing cards, there he was, watching what was going on. He even watched the entire movie, which I think is just over 3 hours long, Out of Africa. He loved it. We have a picture of him sitting on an ottoman, just staring at the TV. So we all know this feeling of a pet that is an integral part of our family. So up until then, I was like, there's no option other than survival here, Angus. We need at least 2 more years together. But then the phone call came from the vet that he's very unwell. So the day before he passed and transitioned, he was lying in the hallway, somewhere he never lies, and lying in a funny position, like his paws were weird. Cats like to curl their paws under and look all luxurious. And he was kind of sprawled out with his paws, kind of weird. And he was purring as I sat in the hallway with him, petting him. And our other cat, Jerry, we have 2 others still. So one of the others was watching from the bedroom, looking at me and Angus in the hallway, concerned and just observing. And my heart goes out to Jerry because he's missing his friend. But as I sat there and pet Angus, I said to him, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you know we are going to be okay. However, I'm going to ask that you give me signs and symbols from the other side. That is my requirement for letting you go. And he's lifted his head up while he was purring and gave me that cat squinty eye look, which he hadn't done in a while, in a few weeks, because he was so unwell. And I have never heard him purr that loud before. He was a purrer, he was a cuddler, he was a supervisor, he was everything. So I've heard him purr. I have not heard him purr that loud. And I said to him, you are going to guide us on the other side. I know you will. You may have even been guiding us from the other side before we even met. Who knows? There is no such thing as time. We just use time to keep us organized while we're here in physical form. That's what I believe. You're going to help us on the other side. You're going to give us signs and symbols. I said to him, I don't know what those signs and symbols are right now. I'm going to let you be in charge of that. And then he rested his head on the hallway floor again, purring. So the next day we found him crossed over. We found his body. And he had died sometime in the night. And so we took his body to the vet. I know all the pet lovers have done this before. You get it. And then my daughter and I went grief shopping. Grief shopping's tough. You get that one or two items that will forever remind you of that day. As you're shopping, you feel like you're hovering. You're not grounded. You're like, this color, this size, anything to distract me from how I'm feeling, and yet you still feel it. My daughter and I went out for lunch, and usually I tell waitresses or shopkeepers what's happening and why people want to know what's your day like, what's going on. We couldn't even bring ourselves to tell people our sweet pet had died. And I remember our waitress bringing us our lunch, and it would be like, at one point my daughter would be crying but ordering something, and at another time I'd be teary-eyed and asking the waitress something. I'm sure she recognized grief. And then later that day, the whole point of this video is for me to tell you what happened around 4 o'clock, same day that Angus died. I was sitting on my back deck, just kind of slouched in a deck chair, slouched so that my head could rest on some part of the cushion on the chair. And I was hurting. It was supper time. People were probably hungry, but not feeling hungry. I had no idea what to make for supper. I wasn't hungry. I just felt sick and heavy. And I'm lying there, and there's a tree right beside the deck that I'm sitting on. And I remember thinking, I bet you I look dead right now. Just lying there in a weird position. So my eyes are towards the tree that's beside the deck. And all of a sudden, I noticed there's a slim squirrel on the side of the tree, right about eye level, looking at me. And I remember thinking, I know all the squirrels in my yard, mostly because I'm obsessed with feeding the birds, and I think I'm mostly feeding the squirrels. And squirrels are happy. I've seen them play. I've seen a mother play with her baby squirrels. I've seen squirrels throw things in the air on their back and almost juggle stuff and then go chase wherever it landed and then throw it up in the air again. They're joyful. So I do know all the squirrels in my yard, and this squirrel I had never seen before. It was slim, gray coat that matched the tree and was looking right at me. And so the squirrel would scurry around this one part of the tree trunk and then freeze and stare at me again. And squirrel, shimmy around the tree, stare at me. And at first it was just entertaining. Who is this squirrel and what is he doing? Is he okay? What is he doing? He was getting my attention 100%. And then he, as he's looking at me, started to purr. Yes, I was thinking, where's my cell phone? I need to capture this. But remember, I was kind of dying as well. Just leaving for a little bit. Really heavy. And I thought I should be capturing this on my cell phone to show others, to prove to others. Has anyone ever heard a squirrel purr? I Googled it, and they do make all kinds of noises. This was loud purring as he stared at me. And then he was playful. He had his beautiful gray bushy tail flip around his back, and he would touch it to his third eye between his eyebrows to his forehead and flip it back while he's purring, staring at me. Flip his tail and back again. Flip his tail and back again. And I'm telling you, I said to him, Angus, so soon? I didn't expect a sign or a symbol the day you died. Now, with manifestation, I've always said, isn't it really about how you want to feel? I mean, is it really about the money in the bank? Yes, money helps us live our lives, but isn't it really about the security that the money in the bank makes you feel? The money you want to manifest? Isn't the relationship you want to manifest just about how good you're going to feel when you have that? So, I fully believe this was Angus manifesting in that squirrel. I don't think Angus is the squirrel. If he is, I haven't gotten that far yet in realizing energetics and what can actually happen. I think this squirrel was a conduit and a willing participant to allow Angus's spirit in to communicate with me, to say, I'm okay. I am okay. I mean, where I was sitting was often where Angus would sit in the window of what I call our back room. It's like an outdoor room. So all of that's connected to the feeling of me saying, Angus, is that you? Haven't seen the squirrel again since. A slim gray squirrel that matches the tree. You know, can we be open to what we see is not all there is? I write about this in the third Stopping to Smell the Flowers book, The Space in Between, where when I was camping, there was a turtle that was looking at me. It would revisit us at our campsite, and I was writing at the water's edge. And it was just there watching me write. At first we thought it was hungry and we fed it some things, but it wasn't hungry. Something was watching me. I could feel it. So I think with manifestation, if we can open up to the possibility of what if energy can shift vessels, containers? What if communication can happen on many levels for those of us that are grieving, for those of us that want to manifest the life of our dreams? What if we just open to what if? I always say, how does it feel? How does it feel to open to that squirrel? Was Angus talking to me, letting me know he was okay? What if? Does it do any harm? No, it makes me feel good. So I hope this video has helped anybody that's grieving over the loss of a pet. They are a part of the family. It is a huge loss. But look for signs. Look for symbols. Be open and then let go. Follow the steps to manifestation to connect with your pet. Believe that energy is in us and around us, and it is active. It is not static. Like, share this video, subscribe to my channel, check out my website, stoppingtosmelltheflowers.com. If you've lost a pet, put something in the comments. Let's be together on this, in this sense of loss at that furry creature that made you the center of their life with this unconditional love. throw something in the comments. Your comment may help somebody else. stoppingtosmelltheflowers.com. Thanks for listening.